How's the baby?
Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today's March 31st, 2024. Happy Easter
Easter.
to everyone celebrating. Howard, what's going on?
I'm just hiding
Have
that.
you been actually trading lately, or have you been mostly playing golf?
My game, it's a game of a 90-year-old man, so I don't like golf. I don't like anything about golf. I don't even like talking about golf. But really, since you have a baby, that's all I should be bragging about is that I'm golfing and you're not. But I know for sure you're not playing golf.
I'm not like I never even tried. So yeah, that's I guess I have to try one of these days.
All right, so how's the baby doing?
He's doing really well. He's gaining weight quickly and waking up every 2.5 hours. So it's improving. It used to be only 1.5. So it's getting better.
They have baby Ambien now. I don't know if that's worth getting hooked at this young an age. All right,
Yeah.
so Tommy's sick.
Yeah.
So we're picking one up for Tommy. Let's go back to the way we do it here. We're
Yeah.
less community without Tommy, less community interaction. Take us through the market. There's a lot
I
going
mean,
on.
in the past week or so, we're seeing a sector rotation. Like while the leaders, mostly tech stocks, mega caps, have been consolidating sideways through time, or just pulling back slightly. Small caps, mid caps, and really anything else other than tech has been really trying to rally. And as you can see here, the small caps closed the week at new 52-week high. So I think it's a major technical achievement. And if we see a follow through next week, especially considering there is a new quarter starting, we probably see a lot more volatility, a lot more opportunities. Either that, or if we see a rotation back into mega caps, just more choppiness. And as I said, the leaders are just consolidating recent gains. It's completely normal for them to spend several weeks, even a couple of months, just going sideways and building bases above the rising 50-day moving average. But in the meantime, almost everything else has been going up. Like, I mean, people have been talking that inflation has been coming down, and yet the inflation trade seems back on. I mean, uh, energy has been rallying for the past few weeks, and back near 52-week highs. That's a very long base since June 22. Metal stocks, everything started with gold breaking
Yeah, I
out.
mean these are monthly highs. So go back to energy. Sorry, let's just go back to energy because I don't want to come back later. These are like monthly, weekly. I mean, this are basically a monthly all time. And I guess back in,
I mean, it's multi-year, yeah, basically, yeah.
oh
It's like
God,
10
back to
years.
2015. Yeah. So it's an all-time high. Sentiment's not there. There's the market is not selling off, meaning, like you said at the very beginning, the keyword is rotation. So money's not coming out of the market. It may be coming out of semiconductors next month. People may rotate coming out of Apple. But money coming out of Apple can support the whole the one coming out of Apple can support the whole IWM, right? Apple drops 10% and the IWM could go up 10% if money rotates. So keep that in mind, right? Like money doesn't have to leave the market. Um, kids' debt is not so high that they're going into bankruptcy anytime soon. Credit interest rates are high, but they're not any kind of default risk. And anyways, so the energy gold hitting all-time highs along with the
Yeah, I
semiconductors,
mean, it's not just
pretty
them
interesting.
though. Yeah, it's not just them. There are also other metal stocks. So you cannot just say, "Oh, gold is rallying because of it's a hedging or it's a
Well, I just think it's interesting, Bitcoin at all-time highs too, which has
yeah,
kind of been leading this, and weak dollar, the whole like anti-government, governments, printing us to death. And gold had kind of been lagging, and now gold is right there with Bitcoin. It's kind of catching up, not
yeah,
catching up, but like following Bitcoin now into this trade.
yeah.
So.
Silver
Okay.
setting up here. I mean, if it breaks out from this huge base, we'll see some humongous move in the sector. And as I said, it's not just gold; it's also aluminum, copper, like any other metal that you can think of. They've been rallying, they've been breaking out. They're setting up for potential breakouts from very long bases. So to me, it seems that the market is just thinking that the inflation trade might come back at some point in the second half of the year. I'm not sure if that's related to what's expected to happen during the elections in November, but um, the inflation trade has been coming back slowly, and not many people are paying attention to it. In the
Yeah,
mean,
I would add, I've been XLB, the materials hitting all-time highs.
yeah, that's a
Okay, so
pretty good
that's a big one. Yeah,
summary.
so if you go back, you know, if that ain't a sign of inflation, between XLE, gold, Bitcoin, and the materials. Um, I mean, two things can be true, right? If it's like moderate inflation, I guess. I mean, it's really the textbooks are out the window, but I mean, those materials look really good and heavy machine equipment as well. I forget, I think maybe E, I don't know what the ticker symbol is, but outperforming as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
with
oh, there you go.
Fairfield. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So, I don't know what textbook would have all this happening. It's just a big, complicated world, and everybody's trying to like put it in a box, but the price action is just good in a lot of sectors,
Yeah, it's a
and
bull market, and what people have been worrying about at the beginning of the year about how tight the rally was, like those worries, um,
it's
no,
probably,
they didn't come
you know,
true.
me, I'm conservative with my equity exposure, but it's probably the best beginning. I've made so many mistakes, and it's still like the best beginning of the year for my conservative portfolio.
Yeah, we're seeing positive sentiment, companies rallying on bad earnings. I mean, home builders are back to all-time highs, ITB. We're seeing companies like furniture stocks that are um, gapping up after earnings near all-time highs. Here's our house, even restoration hardware, like they missed earnings. They had, pretty weak earnings report, and even they rallied, which, tells you what the market kind of expects 6 months from now, that all that strong price action in stocks, in crypto, will probably, it's making everyone's richer. So people are going to spend more on just high ticket, more expensive items. And we're already
Maybe,
starting to
yeah,
see that
maybe.
in those stocks, just, breaking out.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's data that, the credit card debt is out of control. And if, when I was young, Best Buy owned me. Like, that was where I had to go. TV was 10 grand, buying CDs, music. No, that's all on your phone now, right? And so the only thing kids need to buy are Lulu. They don't have to buy suits. They don't have to buy seasonal clothes. They don't have to buy seasonal shoes. They can wear running shoes to work. So they can spend all their money on, like you said, maybe not young kids, but their home and restoration hardware, and that's where they pile in. Obviously, restoration hardware, if homes are doing well, it makes sense. Then the restoration hardware is getting a buy on earnings and rallying. It's the leader in that space. Not for me, there's better looking charts, but it just goes to show you that even in an inflationary environment, in a market where homes have never been more relatively expensive, um, you know, somehow, some way, people are figuring, are making this happen for now, right? And the price action is good. All right, what else do you see?
Yeah, I mean, we continue to see strength in all the weight loss related drug companies like Envio, just kind of setting up here near its rising 20-day, Eli Lilly. And there's some of the smaller ones that are just coming by VKTX. I think they had another um, positive trial results, gapped up and kind of consolidating sideways here. And interestingly, last week we also saw Krispy Kreme donuts. They signed a a partnership contract with McDonald's, and we saw their stock just exploding. I don't know how much that is related to, all the weight loss drugs being so successful lately, but that was a pretty big move in the middle of the week last week, obviously. And we talked about how semiconductors have been pulling back, just going sideways. Last week we mentioned how Micron is kind of secondary AI play. They followed through immediately at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, we talked about that. I said and then I followed up in Trends with Friends. It's like the AI requires a lot of memory. It's still cyclical, Micron, according to Michael Parak, but it should work for a few quarters.
It is cyclical, but it seems to be entering the right side of the cycle right now. Breaking out, and it's a slower moving stocks, but I think that considering the industry environment and the needs that AI is going to need, probably the dips here to the 20 to the 50 days is going to be great buying opportunities if you really want to time it. And other than that, the IPO market has been wild. And I mean, for short-term traders, really, though, because we saw pretty big moves in Reddit. Look at those huge moves. If you're a short-term trader, this is like gold. They're making 20%, 30% moves in a day, and they're super liquid. Obviously, if you're a long-term investor holder, that's super volatile. It's really kind of hard to really digest this. But for short traders, then those new IPOs have been great. And here's the other one, Astera Labs, also very big daily ranges. So great for swing, great for short-term intraday traders.
Yeah, I guess it's good for the broker. Let's see Goldman, like I said, broke out.
Exactly. If you remember, we talked about it literally a couple months ago, that if the market remains that hot, we'll see more IPOs coming to the market. And Goldman Sachs is one of those companies that is going to benefit. And they went sideways for multiple weeks, and they broke out a couple weeks ago, and they seem to be heading higher. But
yeah, I mean, there's no rules, right?
Financials in general has been super strong. I mean, this is probably what maybe new all-time highs on XLF.
Yeah, when there's no rules, right? No one's focused on rules. So in a government, Trump's posting pictures of Biden being kidnapped. Biden is doing transgender days. No one's watching the banks. Everybody's got their eye on TikTok, on Apple lawsuit. And here's JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. If we look at the Schwab Ameritrade deal, that's how did that get through, right? So, imagine what all our money, when Schwab and TD merge, and there's one clearing firm, them and Fidelity, and your financial advisor has two choices. Guess who gets to raise prices? Schwab and Fidelity, right? So that's a huge tax. And where's the biggest tax on? Our assets. So, the government's fishing and they're overmatched. While they're looking over here, the mice will play over here. So you've got Goldman, you've got the financials now. I think it's the biggest story because they still rule, right? There's some competition in the digital world with Bitcoin, but the ETFs, BlackRock, they all got their hands into Bitcoin before it was too late. So it seems like the financialization of everything continues, with Goldman and JP Morgan breaking out, home builders breaking out, and with the government focus on tech. I wouldn't be surprised to see tech stall. Let me share a few screens.
All right, go ahead.
So what do I do? I just share. You see my screen?
Yes, we're seeing your, yeah.
All right, so
yeah.
So it's a pretty good chart. The largest semiconductor gain since 2000, we know what happened after that. We had a bear market. Not different. Semiconductors are different this time in the sense that they're more like air, right? Even including Micron, right? Because of AI. So you've gone from CPU to GPU. So if the story makers are in charge here, computers are a lot different today, and semiconductors are in everything, including heavy machinery like Caterpillar. So a little different, but I should point out that we're the largest 5-month gain since 2000. So it's not a sell signal, but I thought that was an interesting chart here. Let's see. The Goldman Momentum Index, it's extended, right? And when it gets this extended, you can see a pullback, right? So that would include, JP Morgan, and the Goldman high beta and Goldman Sachs, but really it's about tech stocks that lead this. And so here you go, it's flashing, this extension. So for traders, don't be surprised. What's another one? Share. Thought this was interesting someone produced this on Koifin, and you can see that the last 10 years it's been all semiconductors, right? It's easy in hindsight, right, to understand it. And past does not equal the future. So, but I do think it's just super interesting to see it in all its glory here. Maybe COVID accelerated all this, but really fascinating to see software. And I was part of this trend with software, but I don't know semiconductors and I don't invest in semiconductor companies. Does anything else here stand out to you? I mean, obviously energy, because inflation was so tame for so long, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the people at the bottom, XOP and OH, have a good 5-10 year run, especially if inflation continues to rear its ugly head. Agriculture moo was, same thing. So but you can just see the humongous discrepancy between semiconductors over the last 10 years. I think that's going to be hard to, NVIDIA is an amazing company and earnings are still growing. But again, think about the momentum that's already baked into this. Okay, and then finally, a couple things that are might be good reminders. Just want to show a couple more. I thought this was interesting. We talked about the materials, all-time highs, kind of breaking a downtrend too relative to the S&P. So you got the combination all-time high and then some relative strength versus the S&P. So that can continue there. And then finally, Chipotle's, it's one of Bill Ackman's biggest position. I'm no Bill Ackman fan, but to ride, do you still Chipotle? Right?
No, I haven't been there in a very long time. I think at the end of last year I went and the prices seemed a bit high for what they offer.
Kids love it. Every time I go, and I go along when I'm not eating bread and just have some chicken and a little bit of chicken and salad and guac. And every time I go, I'm just shocked at that 25 and under crowd that just terrorizes that place. On Coronado, it's all that young high school kids, so that it can't be that expensive, I guess. I always thought it was expensive if you lock on the guac and everything. It can be
Well, Coronado
15
doesn't have
bucks.
that many options, so
Yeah, but anyways, look at the returns here, and you look at the 2016. I think that's when they had the food poisoning. And then you saw the breakout here in 2020, right after COVID, the dip in COVID, and then it's been off to the races. Against any other, including Domino's, it's just crushed it. All right, let me end my sharing screen and how to get off. How do I stop
yeah,
share?
let's Stop. Okay.
Are you back?
Yeah, we are back. Let me just share back my screen. So yeah, back. Go
So the
ahead.
same thing, like I was looking at Hood, we looked at Goldman, look at Hood. Remember, how hated it was by its users? And, the market comes back, it's still the best product. They definitely continue to underperform other brokerages, including Goldman and including like Coinbase. But they're the only, post-ZERP, you know, post-ZERP, they're the only startup brokerage that really has, traction in the US. So for all the money that was spent creating financial products during ZERP, Robinhood kind of stands out. They launched a gold, which I didn't think that would be such a success, but they launched a gold credit card with 3% cash back, and
Yeah.
people went bananas for that. So good marketing. They had a pretty good launch with their gold credit card. And with no competition, sometimes it doesn't matter how you execute if you're the only one surviving. And in this post, there were so few companies that really got through the ZERP um, end of ZERP, right? They all just ran into a wall overspending and didn't prepare themselves. Robinhood got through it, and you can see the demise that everybody wished on it for the AMC thing is kind of gone.
Yeah.
And with that demise, also AMC. But there's still a lot of speculation, Ivan, in this market.
Well, there's
I think
plenty of
that's,
speculation, Howard,
yeah,
and to
we'll
make
end on that. Like, talk about what you're seeing there.
yeah, I mean, real quick about Robinhood. It seems to me that they really know the pain points of the average consumer because Schwab, for example, Schwab is paying nothing on no interest on your cash, like very little.
Still,
And
yeah,
companies
that's
like
interesting.
Robinhood, Interactive Brokers, they pay you 5% just for holding your cash overnight there. You don't need to buy, market funds to get that. And they also, with that new card that they released, that they offer 3% cash back. This is excellent. I mean, I have Fidelity that has a 2% cash back that invests automatically that 2% back into your account. Like I open a 529 educational account for my son, so 2% of everything I spend goes into his account. And
Smart.
these are really, they know the pain points. I mean, Schwab continues to really doesn't really care. Like, I can't believe that they're
Well,
paying zero. Um,
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
because-
Like, they're ripping off their customer. The government's got their eyes shut while they do a deal with Ameritrade to lock down. It's just amazing. The government's so focused on tech, and we're just going to see these financial companies squeeze us again from gold. Look at Goldman, JP Morgan. It's just the consolidation and the squeezing of the consumer. So Robinhood is getting lucky here from many angles, right? So you may hate them for the AMC thing, but you got to use them because you can make 8% cash back. Like if you're getting 5% interest and they're paying you 3% on your spend,
yeah,
I mean, that's
that's pretty
found
good. Yeah,
money.
yeah,
And I will tell kids today, like parents watching, tell your kids if they have credit card debt, right? Refinance it for them, right? Because they're going to be paying 25 to 28% on their credit card debt, which is like the opposite of compounding. It's the worst type of compounding that your kids could be left with. Lend them money at 10% if you can. Have them open a Robinhood account and earn 8%. So if your kid's got a 28%, 20 grand on a 28% card, you can save your kid a fortune by setting up that loan with your kid, charging 10% and letting your kid compound and open a Robinhood account and basically flip it, and earn 8% on their money. I think they got to keep their money there 2 years. So there's always, you got to read the fine print. But, earning 5% on your cash and 3% cash back, I mean, that's almost stupid not to take
yeah.
advantage
I
of
mean, that's
that.
basically the
That's
S&P
Robinhood's
500
problem, right?
return.
Like Robinhood wants to spend that money, great.
Yeah,
But that's your job to take it. You're insured there. And there's a lot of kind of weird refinancing that can go on within. I know when I was young, Ivan, and I would switch credit cards that offered me lower rates. So, that was my only hack. I would like get an offer from a different capital credit card every month. I don't think they can do that marketing anymore, but I would go from like 17% to 11% and move my whole balance. Today, I think every credit card is like 20 to 28%. And that's just like usury, crazy like rates that are out there that kids are paying. So there is a lot of savings that that you can do by being creative here with Robinhood. Okay. But the speculation continues, Ivan. Like the meme coins are on fire. Solana's $200. I know we talked about it here at 20. And then there's still a lot of stocks under the radar. MMYT, I talked about that forever. That's an Indian travel stock. I remember talking about it on the breakout at 40, the all-time high breakout. If you go out to the monthly, I know where we were talking about it. So I just wanted to check in on that. I didn't expect it to just shoot straight to $70. Still, $8 billion travel company relative to Booking.com and, for India. Again, it's extended, but still, Booking's how big? 125 billion. India is kind of the largest non-US market, and their largest travel company is 8 billion. So contextually, there's still some just unbelievable arb and trading opportunities out there that you don't have to get too complicated about. Mercado Libre looks good too, and that's kind of like
It's been pulling back. It's building a new base here.
but it still looks good. And in the United States, the PayPal, which I'm long, it's just a trade here, but like breaking out,
Putting up,
yeah, and kind of bottoming. Square, don't love Square,
Square
but
setting up, Square setting
yeah,
up.
yeah, Square setting up. So I don't know what will happen. Obviously, the market is not expecting any drama right now. Where's the VIX at? I think it's pretty low.
I mean, this is usually when it's the most dangerous, when the market is not
Yes.
expecting anything, but
Yeah.
you still need to see a catalyst. And like every
Yeah. You
correction
can't
is gonna
predict a
start with-
crash, but you usually get a few warnings.
Yeah.
And yeah.
At least you get a huge one-day sell-off, like the index is down 2-3%. This will
Yeah.
be your warning that you need to lighten up, or maybe just
Yeah.
go short
Yeah.
catch.
I think software's kind of the weakest of the tech.
Tech
They're
in
the
general
first.
has been just going sideways as but there's been rotation into other sectors.
Yeah.
But you show that huge chart with the semiconductors start performing significantly in the past few years. I think last year's rally was very tight. It was about like a small number of stocks really outperforming. And then since November of last year, since the Fed said that they're done raising rates, we saw a significant widening of the rally. And now we see so many more sectors participating, from home builders and retailers to biotech,
Yeah.
even regional banks and financials. So there's definitely been an expansion and just wider participation.
Yeah. I remember, you can take out 200-300 billion out of Apple, right? Which is just a fart in the wind. But 200 billion into small caps like can move the index. So if that money just goes into energy and stuff that's only 2-3% of the S&P materials, you could see massive moves.
Yeah.
So without, so the Qs could go sideways and the small caps could go up 30%, So people have to understand that, how to read the tape here, because the Magnificent Seven have just such large market caps that if the trade from last year unwinds without the market going to the toilet, you can still have a great year in stocks, right? You just got to be in the right stock. So hopefully this show kind of explains that to people. But yeah, I mean, there's such good setups. Yeah, Google probably looks the best of the Mag set. Google and Apple, Google and maybe Microsoft look the best. Microsoft's just been the smartest. Yeah, NVIDIA is just selling a product that nobody has, but Microsoft's been the smartest of all these. and cunning. They remember their history. And that's an interesting pullback there in
Yeah, interesting
AMD.
pullback. We had a gap down on Monday when China announced that they don't want any US chips from US companies in their government employees' laptops. But that gap was very quickly bought on Monday on Intel and AMD. I mean, it needs time. Definitely, they're better looking charts. It just needs time to kind of go sideways.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I'm saying these are more signs of tech problems, right? Like
yeah.
these false breakouts, the valuations where they are, and we're threatening TikTok, and we're stupidly playing long-term threats. China just did what? They woke up one day and just said, fuck AMD. And you can see, what was that, almost a 20% move?
Yeah. I mean,
Oof.
30 to 170. That's a pretty significant pullback. Exactly. So if there's any danger for semiconductors this year, this summer, it is coming out of China.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, everybody have a great week. Send this to Tommy and Ivan. I like that color on you. You're looking good.
Thank you.
It was a pretty big rain yesterday. I said in my head.
Yeah, it's still raining today too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
See you next week.
See you, everybody.